The Tower's Bride, a tale of Anne Boleyn's ghost. The fog rolled over the Thames like a silver tide, cloaking the Tower of London in its cold embrace. Beneath the dim glow of the moon, the ancient stones seemed to sigh, centuries heavy with secrets and sorrow. It was a place soaked in blood, in betrayal, and most of all, in memory. They said she still walked there, Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry VIII. The queen who had captured the monarch's heart, changed the course of a kingdom, and lost her head for her trouble. They said she had never truly left the tower, her restless spirit doomed to replay the tragedy that ended her life. And tonight, someone had come seeking her. One, the historian doctor. Eliza Morland was no stranger to ghosts. Metaphorically speaking, as a scholar of Tudor history, she had devoted her life to peeling back the layers of the past. Her latest obsession was Anne Boleyn, Queen, mother of Elizabeth I now, and the most controversial consort in English history. Eliza's hands trembled slightly as she unlocked the heavy oak door of the Queen's house within the Tower grounds. It was past midnight, and the curators had granted her a rare private overnight stay. Under the pretense of research, of course. She told no one the real reason. She wanted to see Anne. Her research had led her to a series of obscure Tudor letters, cryptic references to a mirror chamber, a hidden space beneath the chapel of St. Peter ad Vincula, where Anne was buried. Legend spoke of a room out of time, where the condemned could speak again, where the past bled into the present. Madness, yet Eliza believed. She had to. The ticking silence, the halls of the tower were unnaturally still. Only the echo of Eliza's boots on stone disturbed the silence. She made her way toward the chapel, lantern in hand, the flame casting flickering shadows on ancient walls. The air grew colder, more oppressive. She descended into the crypt. There was no official mirror chamber, but Eliza had found something, a warped section of wall behind a disused altar. It bore no mortar lines, no structural seams, just a faint six-fingered handprint scorched into the stone. She placed her own hand over it. The wall shimmered with a sound like the breath of the earth itself. The stone dissolved into mist. Beyond it, a narrow stair descended into utter darkness. She hesitated, then stepped inside. The stairway spiraled down into an impossible blackness. Her lantern flickered. The deeper she went, the less she felt tethered to reality. Time seemed to stutter, loop, whisper. Then a door, wooden, carved with a Tudor rose, and the Boleyn falcon, its wings outstretched. She pushed it open. The mirror room, the chamber was round, its walls covered in ancient mirrors, tarnished silver and fractured glass. Eliza saw herself reflected 100 times, each image slightly different. Some smiled, others wept. One bled from the neck. In the center stood a single chair, and seated in it, Anne. She was impossibly still. Her dark hair coiled beneath a French hood, her gown of black damask barely rustling despite a wind Eliza could not feel. Her face was pale, ageless. Her eyes, deep pools of sorrow and flame, fixed on Eliza without surprise. "You came," Anne said. Eliza could barely breathe. "You're real." Anne inclined her head. "As real as a memory or a regret." The mirrors pulsed around them, and scenes from Anne's life played like ghostly echoes. Her coronation, the birth of Elizabeth, the whispered accusations, the trial, the sword. "You seek answers," Anne said, "but truth is a blade, and blades cut both ways." Eliza approached slowly. "Why do you remain here?" Anne's gaze turned to one of the mirrors. It showed Henry's face, once youthful, now bloated and haunted. "Because I was never allowed to finish my story, because I was turned into a cautionary tale, a witch, a horror, never a woman." The room darkened. The mirrors began to shatter one by one. "Your world still sees me as a ghost," she said. "Then so be it. Then the bargain." A wind howled through the chamber, and the reflections of Anne multiplied, forming a circle around Eliza. Each one whispered, "Truth is not safe." Anne rose from the chair. Her form wavered as if caught between centuries. "You can free me," she said, "but you must give something in return." Eliza swallowed. "What?" "Your time, your name, your presence in the world above. Take my place for a night. Let me walk in the air again, even if only for hours. Let me see my daughter's world." Eliza trembled. "You want to possess me?" "Number, I want to borrow you." Silence. Then Eliza nodded. The room erupted in white fire. V. The Queen rises. At sunrise, the yeoman warders on patrol found a strange woman walking along the tower green. Her gown was unfamiliar, her bearing regal, her eyes alight with ancient grief. She touched the ravens gently. She gazed up at the sky with wonder and pain. They called to her, but she did not answer. She vanished before their eyes. That night, Eliza awoke on the cold floor of the crypt, alone. The mirrors were gone. Only the faint scent of rose and myrrh remained. She stumbled up the stairs, her memory fragmented. Back in the Queen's house, her laptop buzzed. An email was waiting, sent from her own account, but she hadn't written it. It read, "Thank you. I saw the sky. I saw the world my daughter shaped. I am no longer lost. Signed, Anne, 6. The legacy, Eliza never told anyone what truly happened. But her next book, Anne Boleyn, Beyond the Tower, became a sensation. In it, she painted Anne not as a schemer or a martyr, but as a visionary, a woman who dared to reach for more. Historians debated her interpretations. Critics called it fantasy. But at the Tower of London, something had changed. The guards no longer heard the echoing footsteps on May 19th. The scent of roses no longer haunted the Queen's house. And beneath the chapel, the hidden wall had sealed itself forever. Yet on rare nights, when the fog thickens and the Thames whispers, some say a woman in black still walks the green, head held high, eyes fixed on the stars. And if you listen closely, you might hear a voice. "I am not a ghost. I am a queen."